So how exactly do you turn a simple Python script into a real functioning application? Man, it's a frustration literally every developer faces early on. You know the drill, right? You spend hours writing this brilliant code, you hit run, it does its job perfectly in the terminal, and then poof, it just vanishes. We've all felt that specific heartbreak of accidentally closing a terminal window and losing all that inputted data. The program ends, the data is gone, and your only way to interact with it is through this sterile text-based command line. But what if you want to build something that lasts? Something that actually remembers user data, something with buttons, windows, and a visual interface that anyone can just pick up and use. Well, welcome to today's explainer because we're going to solve exactly that problem. Today, we're diving deep into file handling and GUI design in Python. Basically, we're on a mission to give your code a memory and a face. If you're ready to transition from writing temporary, disposable scripts to building fully functional, interactive software, you are definitely in the right place. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll talk about Python's next level, then mastering file handling, followed by designing the GUI. After that, we'll get into the database brain, mastering CRUD operations, and finally, your integration missions. All right, part 1, Python's next level, moving beyond the terminal. Part 2, mastering file handling, the short-term memory. To truly level up our development skills here, we really have to acknowledge the limitations of basic scripts. Think of a standard Python variable like a passing thought. The moment the program closes, that thought is completely gone forever. Now, looking at our core curriculum mandate, it says the learner is expected to summarize and implement basics of file handling in Python. And honestly, the key word there is implement. This isn't just about understanding the theory of text files, it's about actively writing the code that opens, reads, writes, and closes files directly from within your Python environment. So, hitting Learning Outcome 4.1 using basics of file handling operations in Python is your first major milestone. By doing this, you're literally empowering your application to save its state. Whether that's saving a user's high score in a game, keeping a log of errors, or just storing simple text data, file handling gives your raw data a physical home on a hard drive. It's an absolutely crucial first step in building software that actually persists. Moving on to part 3, designing the GUI, giving your app a face. Now we're stepping out of the back end for a minute and building the actual storefront of our application. A graphical user interface, or GUI for short, utilizes visual tools in Python to create that interactive face. We're mainly going to be focusing on tools like tkinter and pyqt. These give you the brushes and the canvas you need to paint a window that users can actually click, scroll, and type into. We're talking about totally replacing that blinking cursor of the terminal with a rich, interactive visual experience. And here are your actual building blocks, your GUI widgets. Handing these over is kind of like opening a master developer's toolbox. Think of Canvas and Frame as your containers, basically the walls of your house. Inside them, you place the furniture, buttons to trigger actions, labels for text, scroll bars for easy navigation. You've got check buttons and radio buttons for user choices, and entry and spin box widgets for gathering input. Seriously, mastering these widgets in tkinter is the secret sauce that transforms a theoretical program into a tactile, usable tool. But listen, as your application grows, you're inevitably going to hit a wall. While basic file handling is great for temporary, flat data storage, it just doesn't scale. If you've got thousands of users, searching through a simple text file is agonizingly slow, and honestly, incredibly insecure. That is exactly why we have to graduate to back-end databases. They give us that structured, scalable, long-term memory our app desperately needs. Which brings us to part 4, the database brain, building the warehouse. So if the GUI is your storefront and file handling is like a sticky note left on the counter, the database is your massive, highly organized warehouse. To build it, you're going to need robust relational technologies. I'm talking about things like SQLite, MySQL, and PostgreSQL to organize your data into neat, interconnected tables. And hey, if you want to branch out later on in your own, you can explore Kiwi for modern mobile design or MongoDB, which is a super powerful NoSQL database that handles data more like dynamic documents rather than rigid tables. All right, part 5, mastering CRUD operations, connecting the cash register. Here's the thing. A beautiful storefront and a massive warehouse are completely useless if they can't talk to each other. And that's exactly where CRUD comes into play. Create, read, update, delete. These are the core operations performed when integrating a GUI with a database. Think about it. When a user registers, your GUI sends a create command to the database. When they log in, it reads their credentials. When they change a password, it updates the record, and if they cancel an account, it deletes it. Integrating your tkinter GUI with your SQLite or MySQL database using CRUD is what literally makes your software come alive.
Finally, part 6, your integration missions, the culminating projects.
Now, we aren't just going to learn this stuff in theory, it's time for some actionable developer missions. Here is your progressive map. Step 1 is task 13. Write a program to master those basic file handling operations. Step 2 is task 14. Step out of the terminal and design a GUI using tkinter. And finally, the ultimate challenge, step 3, which is task 15, create a database, connect it directly to the GUI you just built, and perform full CRUD operations. This right here is where the short-term memory, the interactive face, and the highly structured brain finally connect into one cohesive system. So, I'm going to leave you with this. Are you ready to build a Python application that actually remembers, interacts, and scales? Because you now have the blueprint. You understand the necessity of file handling, the power of visual widgets in tkinter, and the absolutely critical importance of tying it all together with a database using CRUD operations. The terminal was really just the beginning. It's time to start building the future. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy coding.